Hi everyone, thanks for coming back to another video. Appreciate y'all coming back. God bless you all. I wanted to go ahead and share some information that the Lord has been talking to me specifically about. I really feel like it's for more than just me, and so I wanted to be sure that I got it out. I will ensure that my notes get attached this time. I apologize for the last one, and I will try to see if I could get that attached to that other video. We're going to talk about the study of faith today, and we're going to talk about what that brings about. Some of the things that the Lord was talking to me about and how He led me through my study to understand exactly what He was talking about. I also have two videos that I want to share with you. One is another additional one for the children leaving. And then another will confirm that the information that I'm presenting to you is something that has been confirmed already through another messenger. So God bless you all. Thank you for coming back. I'm going to go ahead and switch this around and start showing my notes so that we can go ahead and start our study. So today is the 16th, but on the 13th, the evening of the 13th, I laid down at night and I was praying for some friends of mine. And as I continued to pray silently over certain people in my life that I knew I needed to include in prayer, the Lord said something to me once I ended my prayer. And this is what He said. He said, "Your faith has become you." And I wasn't exactly sure what He was meaning in regards to this statement. And so I asked the Lord exactly what that meant. And He said, "Your faith has grown." And I said, "Lord, what is the difference between trust and faith?" I said, I understood that I trusted Him, even more than I even trust myself. I said, but what is the difference? And the understanding that I was given was that faith becomes reality. It becomes something that is tangible, something that you receive. And trust is something that you give to someone else. That you really don't receive anything in return. So while it really does appear on the outset and on the outside that it is the same thing, it is actually two different things entirely, but they are intertwined somehow. So as I was laying in bed and continuing to ponder over what He was telling me, I had a scripture come into my mind of Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now, we did a study on faith. We did a study on this particular verse. We talked about faith. We talked about, some of the scriptures and what they were saying. But this is the Lord actually pinpointing this specific topic. So it's important. He wanted to talk about it. He wanted to have me understand it more in a little bit more depth. And so I recalled this scripture. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I started realizing that faith can move mountains just like we were told in scripture. And we were told even in scripture that even if it was the size of a mustard seed, right, we could move mountains. And a mustard seed is a very, very, very small seed. And so probably about the size of a celery seed or maybe a little bit smaller. I mean, they are tiny. So I started looking up substance, right? And I went into the Strong's, and it came up to G5287, which is hypostasis. And it means a setting or placing under. a substructure or some type of foundation. That which has foundation is firm. It has actual existence, a substance, a real being. So when we look at this scripture and it says that faith is the substance of things hoped for. So what God had told me was that faith becomes reality. It is something received, then it is something there. It is a real being. It has an actual existence. It is a foundation of something firm we can stand upon. Faith. So it's not just like, oh, well, I have faith in him that he'll do it. No, it's a strong, foundational, firm footing. That's what that is saying to us. So I also looked up the word evidence because it says in that scripture that it is the evidence of things not seen. And so I came up with G1650 for Strong's. And it says a proof, that by which a thing is proved or tested, a conviction. It is proof. So a lot of people will say, well, how do you know God is real? Show me proof. And so some won't believe until there is a proof. They actually have to see something. They have to realize there is something there. They have to see it, right? So if it is a substance, a firm foundation that has actual existence, a real being, okay, that will provide proof by which a thing is proved or tested, then that means it's coming into being. It's becoming a reality. It is something that's going to be tangible or seen. It is going to be experienced. And so when we're talking about faith, it's just not a flippant word. It's not. It is a very strong, firm conviction that it is coming, and there is no doubt whatsoever. So as I'm laying there, now, mind you, I looked these up the next day. I didn't get up out of bed to look them up, but I put them here because I wanted it to tie into what the Lord was trying to tell us. This is, when he says your faith has become you, and when I asked him about it, he says your faith has grown. So that means that it's gotten bigger, okay? It's gotten stronger. It's gotten more prevalent. It's gotten matured. It's gotten to a different level, maybe. So I thought that was interesting. So as I'm still laying there, I'm asking the Lord. I was realizing that our faith is a substance. We need for authority. Our authority, because now recall that the Lord told the disciples that they had authority. Remember, they were allowed to go out and do certain things, and they even came back and said, Lord, we weren't able to expel this demon, and Yeshua said, well, that's because this one has to be removed by fasting. And so when you have authority over something, they have to listen to you. They have to do what you are telling them to do or asking them to do. You are the final word when you have authority over something else. And so So I thought that was interesting. So when I was talking and praying to the Lord that night, and I was asking him in regards to this substance that we need, I asked him, I said, is faith a power? Meaning, is it a power of God? And he said, it is a fruit. So now, I thought that was real interesting because we have just come out of the study and the things that I shared about the tree of life, which is the 12 fruits. And I thought it was interesting that he was pulling out a fruit. So it's something that we have within ourselves. It is a fruit is a blossom of something else. It starts growing within us, and just like a bud on a tree, it starts off like a flower and then becomes a fruit. And so it's not an overnight thing. It takes time for the tree to grow. It takes time for the limbs to grow. It has to be in the right season in order for the fruit to bloom, for the flowers to bloom, for the fruit to grow. It has to have everything around it in order to be correct. I mean, it can't be a drought season, or the fruit won't grow the way it needs to grow. And so there's all kinds of different things that need to tie into that. But I found it very interesting that he said it was a fruit. So the next morning I went through, and naturally I had to look up the words fruit to see exactly what it was saying. Fruit is the sweet and fleshly product of a tree or other plant that contains a seed and can be eaten as food. But another definition was the result or reward of work or activity. Remember, there's a scripture, you will know them by their fruit, meaning what their actions are, how they handle things, what kind of fruit do they have? Is it the Spirit of God, and meekness and gentleness and kindness and compassion and long loving kindness? Is it all of that? Or is it the other type of fruit? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it murder, lies, jealousy? Is it all on that? Is it that kind of fruit? And so we will know them by their fruit. And so the second definition is the result or reward of work or activity. And the synonyms, of course, I wanted to add some of these. It's reward, benefit, advantages, product, profit, yield, legacy, outcome, results, and effect. So this is just not something that comes overnight. This is something that is built upon, that is learned, that grows, that matures, that ripens, that comes about within us. So the origin of in the Old French, it just means enjoyment of produce or the harvest. Now I thought that was real interesting when I read that, because we have a harvest within ourselves. That is so amazing. Amazing. But I went on and started talking with him and continuing to talk with him. And I mentioned to him that my faith really, from what I thought, was not where I truly wanted it to be yet. Because I realized that I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get to what I think in my mind would be perfect faith. Will I ever be perfect? No, but I do strive to work on faith. He has walked me through quite a few testing situations and seasons that were not short, that I had to utilize my faith. And so I know this is something he's been testing me on within the last several years. But my idea was to truly have faith in my mind, was to ask and believe and trust that it will come to pass. And I just recently had another test in this area, and I want to talk to you about it because I really feel like this will back up what I'm trying to say. So last week, well, it would be 2 weeks now. 2 weeks ago, my husband had to go out of town for 2 days to work, and so he had to drive, spend the night, work the whole next day, and then drive home that next night. That happened actually 2 weeks in a row. And so I had asked my husband to just text me, please, as soon as you get there so that I know you're there safe, because the first week that he went traveling, the weather was really bad. It was heavy rains, and he had to drive like 4 hours. And anyway, to get where he needed to go. But I had prayed to the Lord the night before his travels, and I asked the Lord for safe passage. But during that night, I really did not get an answer back from the Lord. Sometimes the Lord will tell me it is so. Sometimes he'll say it will be. Sometimes he'll, confirm it to me within my prayer that I know it's done. But that night, I didn't hear anything back from him. And so I didn't press him anymore on it. I'm talking about the Lord in prayer. But I just asked my husband just to send me a text. And I do this every time. Just text me and let me know you got there safe. And so I didn't hear from my husband. I didn't hear from him that morning. So I sent him a text somewhere around, 10:30, 11 o'clock. I didn't hear anything back from that text. I sent another one somewhere around 1:30 because I thought, well, maybe he had lunch late. I didn't hear anything back from that. And it wasn't until well after 3 that I had actually gotten a text back from my husband letting me know, I'm sorry, I got tied up. The regional people are here and I'm trying to, blah, blah, blah. And that was fine. It was just that, but before I got the text back from my husband, I actually went into prayer with the Lord, and because I started to get fearful, and I said, Lord, what is going on with my husband right now? Is he safe? Is everything okay? And the Lord said to me, did you not ask me for safe passage? And I said, well, yes, Lord, I did. And then he said to me, then trust. And I knew right then, I'm in trouble. I didn't pass this test, because I started to get worried. My husband did make it there. Safe passage, no problems. It was like the rains had quit the whole time he was driving. He had no problem getting there, and got tied up with his bosses and bosses that were there for a training thing, and he, apologized, of course. And I had to tell him what the Lord told me. I said, you got me in trouble with the Lord. But I did tell him what the Lord told me. And he was like, well, then you should have trusted. So the next week, my husband went out of town. And he said, I'll text you when I get there. And when he did, he did. When he got there, he did text me. But I wasn't going to ask. I wasn't going to text him if he didn't. I wasn't going to do anything, because the night before his second week of traveling, I again went into prayer and I asked for safe passage, and I asked for his protection and guidance as he drove. And I did not hear anything from the Lord in prayer that evening, but I knew that my prayer was being heard. I knew, because I had already experienced the week before. So I'm going to continue talking about some of this, because this is really still all tying into this faith, this trust and faith that seems to be intertwined, even though it is different. So all of that brings up what my understanding is from my discussion and meditation with the Lord and what he actually said to me. And I just wanted to say that I've noticed that my prayers are being answered more quickly than anticipated, or even from history in the past. It just seems much more quicker to me now. And I also understand that even if the Lord does not respond to you in prayer with things like "it is done," or "it is so," or "all is well," or anything else that he would say to you normally, confirming that he will answer your prayer request, I need for you to know that he has not turned his face or his ear from you. He has not turned his face or his ear from you. He knows what you asked. He knows where you were when you asked it. He knows what intent was in your heart when you asked it. He knows the reasons why you asked it. And so I just want to let you know that, please, if anything, in my failed test and what I have learned from it, please take my error as your benefit, and just pack that away in your goodie bag, because it is truth. Okay, it is truth that you're hearing. So at times, he's going to test your faith, as he did with me, because he wants to know where we are in that faith building process. It's almost as if, and the only example I could think of was when a child asks their parents or their grandparents for something, and the parent doesn't actually respond in words, or the grandparent, but with actions of going to do the tasks instead of actually saying "I'm going to do it." Just, suppose the child said, "Gammy, can I have a glass of water?" And everyone's in the living room, and Gammy gets up out of the chair and goes into the kitchen and cuts the water faucet on. The child already knows that Gammy was going to get what the child requested, but Gammy didn't say anything to the child. No words were exchanged. Gammy knew the child wanted something to drink. Gammy heard the child. Gammy knew why the child wanted something to drink. And so Gammy got up and she went to go do it without words. So see, now the child knows that Gammy was working on it, even without asking. The child knew, right? So it's that childlike faith, right? No doubting, just knowing, right? Just knowing Gammy had gotten up to do this for her or him. So it's that childlike faith is no doubts, no questions, just know. Just know that it's being done. That's a key. That's a key. And it's also too like something else. It's also like your faith gets bigger. It's like it goes out before you. It's like you are walking behind it in some way. Like it's this huge, I hate to use the word shield, but it's like a big bubble that just like goes out before you, and you're in that bubble. but it's really big and it goes out before you so that things are cleared out of your path and things are prepared for you by the time you get there. And so that's what it seemed like to me. That's what I was perceiving and understanding, that it is growing to that degree. So prayer, belief, trust, faith, that it will come to pass, that it is coming to pass. Childlike faith, no doubt, no questions, just knowing, just believing and knowing it is being done. So I believe there's going to be a day soon, a time that we are going to be required to have our faith in place and grown, continuing to grow, strong conviction. I believe that our faith can change things. It can create things. It can bring things into our reality as a substance, a firm foundation for us to stand on, a real being, a tangible thing, evidence of things unseen, from the unseen into the seen. There's so much more for us to tap into to help us on our walk and our way. And as the Lord has said to us in the past, this is not an ending, but a beginning. That's what he said to us in the past. So while I'm laying there talking to the Lord that night, I asked him, I said, can I test this? I was told I could. And so I asked him, what can I test it on? And he left that up to me. He didn't require me to test it on this or that. And so I asked for health and restoration. And I asked for that for all the males in my home. Now, I have my husband and my grandson, and I have 2 kitty cats, and both of them are male. So I have 4 males and me in this house. And they all have something going on. And I spelled it out to the Lord as if he didn't know. He did know, but I identified everything with the Lord in prayer that night. And then once I was finished talking with him about it, I realized that I had asked for something that was an extremely tall order. And I actually said that to the Lord. I said, Lord, this is a tall order to test. And he said, yes, it was. But I recognized that my faith was still growing. But I know my faith is more than the size of a mustard seed. And if it's more than the size of a mustard seed, it can move mountains. And so I was going to try it. So now I wait. I expect things to happen. My expectancy is out there. My faith is out there. I know it's going to come to be and come to pass. I just wait. So just as I have asked, I realize it's coming. And I refuse to doubt. And I keep my mind on just knowing. There's a firm-footed foundation. There is a substance that's going to come into reality, and it will prove my test. It will do it. And so I wait, because when will that be? That's up to the Lord. But I know it's going to come. I know it's going to come. And so that's what I want to talk to you all about. It will come to pass. So I recognize that something else came to my mind. Guys, remember the Lord didn't even have to touch someone to heal them. Do you all remember that? He could just say it was done, and it was done. He could pray or meditate, and it would be done. He even said, your faith has healed you and made you whole, or your faith has healed your child. So when I thought of that, that came to me after I had told the Lord what I wanted to test it on. And I said, oh my goodness, he is reminding me about scriptures in the Bible in regards to this. And so I looked up faith. I wanted to make sure that I understood and completely grasped what he was trying to tell me. And it means complete trust or confidence in someone or something. It is a conviction or a strong belief in God, a reliance, a dependence, an optimism, a hope, or an expectation. Our faith, it's just not a flippant word. It is the fruit that to me in my mind seemed like a power, because I asked him, is it a power? He said it is a fruit. So it is something that will grow and ripen or mature for harvest. It will come to be. It will come to be. So that is what the Lord talked to me about while I lay in bed the night of the 13th. It is fascinating to me that he's talking to me about faith, and that I asked him for a very tall order. I asked him for a lot to test it. I could have tested it on something like, a pen or, something small, but I didn't. I tested him on something big, because I serve a supernatural God. I serve a radical God. I do, who is full of love and kindness and meekness and compassion for us. And so he is growing me. He is growing you. He is getting us from one step to another, but he is also giving us benefits and rewards so that we can see and believe ourselves and be encouraged ourselves. So the very next morning, on the 14th, I had a video come across my path that will confirm the faith and what we have going on. I do want to pull that up for you and let it play here. I also have another video of another young boy who is also talking about being taken out of here. I want to share that with you as well, because that is still confirming the messages on that 90 days. Guys, I'm waiting. We just keep this as high watch. I've talked with my daughter about it. I've prepped her about it. I've let my husband know that we have a timeline. I want you all to make sure that you're taking time for yourselves, preparing yourselves, making sure that you are ready, as ready as you can be, for all of this to happen. I do want to go ahead and share this. Now, I had someone I had a good friend of mine send something to me yesterday, and it was about the Star of Bethlehem. And the information that she sent me was what I think it was dealing with the year 2020, but there's something tied with this because of this video that I'm getting ready to use as confirmation for the prayer that the Lord had talked to me about faith. I want you to seek the Lord on it. I am just getting started with it. So I'm just going to put it out there to you. Take a look at the Star of Bethlehem and when all of that is happening for 2023, if it's going to happen. And the reason why I say that is because remember the new moons were the monads, and they were the birthing. They were also known as the birth of the nativity. And so I just want to remind you of that information. And when you start seeing some of these other little things, it's going to be real interesting what this young lady doodled for her little TikTok video. It's pretty interesting. So let me go ahead and get those playing for you. And I'm not sure if I'll come back at the end of the video. So if I don't, I'd like to say thank y'all for coming back to another video. I appreciate y'all coming back. Until we meet again, please stay safe. Seek the Lord on all of this stuff. God bless you all.
Ask if it's your word, because not every prophetic word is for every person, so ask if it's for you. But this word is titled, A Miracle is Born. This is a prophetic doodle that I drew. It goes along with this word, so you can go ahead and look at it while I'm reading the word, or don't. It's up to you. But, anyways, this is what the Lord said. Here we go. You have traveled far, though you have taken an unlikely path. You may think you are approaching the finish line, but you've only just begun. Please pay close attention to my specific instructions. You will not be able to reach your destination without my clear guidance. Hear me when I say this. Supernatural outcomes require supernatural faith. I'm asking you to have outrageous faith that goes against all human logic. You know what I need from you. Childlike faith is required to birth this miracle. Oh, my child, why are you afraid? You know me. You know me. You know me. Just so you're sure, I'll say it once more. You know me. Search for my presence, and I will lead you every step of the way. Be prepared as I manifest my presence in peculiar ways. I will appear to you in a manner you have not seen before. Do not be afraid. The midnight hour is soon approaching. Let it begin. Love your Heavenly Father. And these are the verses that He gave me. You can pause it if you want to read them. Childlike faith is required. Just follow His presence. The second star to the right, and straight on till morning.
Hi everybody, I got big news. I had to wake my parents up at 4 a.m. in the morning, right?
Yes.
Because of this dream I had. It describes that, it blew my mind. It describes that Jesus is actually coming someday. He's gonna be here. And I'm just very excited. And what happened in my dream, well, part of it was I was levitating, I was like other people I did love, but I couldn't find them, so it was a bit scary for me. But then I actually made it up to heaven, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm very glad that people are watching this, are gonna watch this, and hopefully you guys believe in the Lord, trust in Him, because if you do, you'll have the greatest reward. I mean, just God bless everyone, and please stay safe. Bye. Hi.
So guys, two videos, very important, both confirming the messages that we've been putting out. So again, I hope that this is encouraging to you. I hope that this is helping to confirm some of the information that is being put out. And you're probably seeing a whole lot more than I am in regards to it. So as we move forward, as we continue forward, we will try to decipher some of the other information that seems to be coming out. Notice the star in her doodle. I thought that was interesting. That seemed to stick out to me. And then she said, second star on the right and then straight until morning. I don't know what that means yet. It's obviously something that he wants us to understand. And so is it the second planet? What is the second star? I don't know yet. I've not prayed on it. I've not asked the Lord about it, but I intend to figure out what's going on. So guys, God bless you. Please stay safe in what you're doing, and take time with your family and your children and your relatives this holiday season, to be sure that they know you love them, and that they are being prepared for their journey. Big things are coming, exciting things are coming for God's people, and I hope to see you all so very soon. God bless you all. Stay safe.